As an Android developer, it is very important and essential to have a mastery of the layout in Android and know how and when to use each of them. Hello and welcome to the Android Developer Africa community, and in this mini series we're going to talk about layout and specifically some chosen layout which we think you need to have a mastery of before starting building great UIs in Android. So let's move on. What's layout in the first place? A layout is simply a view component that defines the visual appearance of items on your screen, and the layout is used to position the various items depending on the properties of each layout, and this gives you the possibility to build great UIs and good animations as you require it in your UI design. In this mini series we're going to talk about the linear layout, the frame layout, the constraint layout, the relative layout, and the coordinator layout. These are the 5 layouts which we think are very important for you to have a mastery of before diving in building great UIs. But these are not the only layout we have in Android. We have other layouts as the scroll view, the grid layout, the table layout, and many more. But these 5 layouts I mentioned earlier are the layout which we're going to talk about in this mini series. And what we will do is that in this video we will briefly talk about each of these layouts, and in the next videos we will talk about each of them practically and in more details. Is that okay? So let's move on. So this is an example of a UI you can build when you have a mastery of layout. If you're able to have a mastery of layout, you can build this kind of UI in a very short period of time. So that's why it is very important we know how to use the UI components available in Android. The first layout I would like to talk about is the linear layout. Linear layout is the simplest layout we have right now in Android, and it helps you to order items horizontally or vertically. Very simple to use and very useful. It's used when we have a small number of items to position either horizontally or vertically. Because for a large number of items, we need to use things like the recycler view, which is more advanced. We're going to talk about it in our advanced videos coming up. Linear layout, very easy, very useful. The frame layout. One of the particularity of the frame layout is that it can just contain a single child, and it's used in situations where when you have a child, be it a layout or a view like a text view button or image, and you just want this child to occupy the whole screen or to occupy just a section in the screen, you can use the frame layout and put this child element in it. Frame layout also very useful. We're gonna see details in next videos. And the next layout is the relative layout. The relative layout is used to position items relative to each other or relative to the parent layout. The relative layout is very useful and very popular among developers, and make sure you have an understanding of this layout. It's also very used to build complex UIs. As you can see, for example, button 2 on the screen is placed below button 1 but at the left of button 3. So the relative layout gives us the possibility to have this kind of flexibility in UI design. The next layout is the constraint layout. The constraint layout at the time of recording of this video is the most powerful layout we have in Android right now, and integrates seamlessly with Android Studio. The constraint layout gives us more flexibility than the relative layout, because one thing you need to note is that the constraint layout is very similar to the relative layout, but it gives us more flexibility in UI building and UI manipulation. So make sure you get a clear understanding on how to use the constraint layout. Very useful, guys. Please pay attention to it. And the last one is the coordinator layout. The coordinator layout is usually considered as a superpowered frame layout, in the sense that it adds decoration and animation to your activity. And one thing about the coordinator layout is that it should be the parent layout of your activity. Please take care of it. It's very important. The coordinator layout should be the parent layout of your activity, because without it you cannot benefit from it if it's not the parent layout of your activity. And the coordinator layout also gives you the ability to add some material design principle to your activity. Please pay attention to it. Very, very important, the coordinator layout. As you can see, the animation on the screen is being done because the parent layout is a coordinator layout. So that is it. These are the 5 layouts we're going to talk about in this mini series. And if you have any question, drop in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer to your questions. So make sure you subscribe and see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.